Romans had people killing each other.
Yeah.
In a stadium. Why are you running? I'm like, I want to do that.
And my ego is trembling. I legit am not joking, trembling. What's up, crew? Welcome to another video. My name is John Connie, aka Big Man Syndrome. Today, we're diving into a topic that is definitely infusing itself into car conversations today. Is social media ruining car culture? From takeover clout to viral builds that seem loosely attainable, it feels like the soul of the scene is being traded for clicks. We talk about how unrealistic builds, over-edited content, and the constant chase for virality could be shifting the way people overcomplicate modification. Are we building for the love of the car or for the likes? And if you're new here, consider joining the crew. Subscribe. We have a lot of content coming in the near future, and by becoming a subscriber, you will come closer to our giveaway, which I will update at the end of the video, so stay tuned. Whether you're watching us on YouTube or listening on one of the major podcast platforms, I hope you enjoy the episode. I'm so washed out. Look.
The wash is real, motherfucker.
I'm too young. No, leave me. I still have cars to work. Okay, I'm good. I'm alive.
The sun, it burns my eyes.
Now I don't have my fucking phone to check the gut. Hold on. Swapped my desk over here. Now the fucking garage opener lights are on. Well, those are also going to randomly turn off, so that's great. That's lovely. I have this ticket from a while ago. I don't know if I checked it or not yet, so we checked that one. It's a loser. Cool. Scan more. We suck again. We're losers.
Fucking failure.
Did you watch the oil change video? No?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
You catch driving back to the house. Like, am I allowed to use that accent? Is that a problem? Is it only a problem if I offend somebody?
Demonetized.
Emotional damage.
Oh, emotional damage.
How long does it take for this garage opener, the lights to turn off? Go away. Go away. All right.
Why are you running?
Why are you running?
I love that one. That fucking standovers.
All right. The light finally shifted. Now my mostly awesome lighting is back. The topic for today is social media ruining car culture. I've been watching I always watch a lot of YouTube videos. What am I saying? Recently, a topic has come up, and we've talked about it before because we had sort of thought about, when we talked about sideshows and takeovers and this idea of like clout versus actually enjoying a project car, like actually having respect for the ownership of the car that you have. Some people just grab a car because it has high horsepower, or they grab a car because it's the one that everybody likes. And I think there's a conversation that's brewing online about how the social media aspect of it is what has driven us towards that. And you had mentioned that too in that episode. So I wanted to dive a little bit into it and talk about some of the stuff that's online. Because I do actually, on my drive to have lunch, I had a fat old Chipotle burrito. So good.
God, I want a Chipotle burrito so bad. I want a Coke. God damn it. I want a Coke. And not the drug. Like, either one would be great. But fuck, I want the drink real bad.
Demonetized. Anyways, yeah, so what's interesting too, so you watched this episode and maybe you didn't pick up too much on, or maybe you did, on the conversation that Vin was having, which was that YouTube has blown up in the sense of, if you have a channel, the only way you can succeed is to have some crazy build. And we've had these discussions too, where it's like, enter golf cart build or silly.
I'm telling you, that golf cart build is going to be like,
or Geo Metro build.
We keep dropping what we're going to do with this channel and like the crazy ass stupid shit that we're going to do with this channel on these podcasts. So when we actually do them, not that anybody's really like super listening to any of this shit right now, but somebody's gonna be like, oh yeah, I already knew this was happening. This is not exciting. Fuck you guys. It is exciting.
Well, that's the thing, is only 30 people are going to probably see this episode. And hopefully millions of people will see here comes our golf cart build. And then they had no idea that we had already talked about it. So yeah. We're in the clear right now. I think until episode 20. We can say whatever
we want.
Yeah, awesome. We're in the clear.
No, but to that point, like I do agree with a lot of that video that, people gravitate to the crazy, right? The extreme, the out of the box type of builds. And that's what gets the most views. Not that you can't have just a normal build and have crazy amount of views on it. I've seen, and really centered around the E36 model, I've seen plenty of videos with like a base level build that has millions of views just because they edited it so well that it makes you want to see what's done to the car. right? So like there's one really, really clean Astero Blau M3 that was just doing basic maintenance, like oil filter housing, oil filter, spark plugs. He got new control arms, but they were stock control arms. Like they weren't like a wide angle kit or whatever. Stock control arms, new bushings, some gaskets, and he rebuilt the car in like, you know, a very simple fashion, but the editing on it was so nice. Like it was really relaxing to watch.
Yeah.
And the last time I watched it, which was like 4 years or 5 years ago or something like that.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
It had like 3 million views on it. Like it was crazy. So I think there is a space if you have the right editing to have very simple builds and still get a lot of viewership from it. But that being said, you can have really shitty editing. And if you have a crazy build, you're going to get views.
Well, that's always been the thing about creating videos. So I've been in the content creation game for a really, really long time. To go viral, right, you have to do something that's way out of the box, but to hold on to virality, and that goes for just about every topic, not just cars, but like fitness stuff where you do something like you do this crazy workout that no one should ever do, and you do it as fast as you can, like Murph, where you do a mile run in the beginning, 100 push-ups, 200 sit-ups, 300 squats, and then you do another mile run. It's like you're going to die, but people want to see that. And if it's low quality, who cares? Because you're doing something crazy. Or like Backpack Kid, right? He did this floss and he went viral and he couldn't hold on to virality because it was just his one trick pony type of thing.
Yeah, that was the one thing. I mean, it comes down to human nature.
Yeah.
We've had this throughout history, right? This is not just a phenomenon about videos, right? Like Romans had people killing each other in a stadium, and people were going there in droves, right? Because it's absolutely insane to do.
Yeah.
But I think with kind of bringing it back to the car culture, right? And with these types of videos where we are building, or we are seeing these like crazy ass builds that are coming, and those people are viewing that, I don't necessarily view that as bad. Like I personally want to see those crazy builds. I just saw some dude pull a Caterpillar engine from a fucking bus and drop it into an F-250. That's absolutely insane. That truck isn't going to stay on the ground at all. And it was a dope build. I think what the problem really lies into, and I think Vin might have touched on this, is people's perception of what they have to do to their cars.
Or what they think is possible. It was the biggest underline. Like it's not necessarily too big for videos, too small for videos, high quality, no quality. It's like what's being sort of perpetuated online from YouTubers. And this is also with everything social media. So like the conversation is social media ruining car culture? You know, you have all these people who've built a platform, hundreds of thousands of followers, maybe even into the millions. And all you see them do is buy a car, put stuff into that car. I'm done with that one. I'm going to buy another car or get rid of this car. And then you see their garage is like 20 cars. And it's like, yeah, I could juggle several cars. And here I am with one car that doesn't run and another car that is running. Yeah.
And I think as well, people forget that social media is entertainment, right? Like,
because we produce these to look so real life. Like Vin is like, a real life dude.
You don't look at an actor and be like, oh, I can do that. What he's doing. Like, no, it's all a facade. It's all meant to entertain, but people view it as real life and try to obtain that. And even the people that are doing it, they're acting. That's not their real life a majority of the time.
A lot of the time, yeah.
Yeah. So like, I think it's the onus isn't really on the creators for doing something entertaining, because that's what it is. It's entertainment. I think the onus is really on the consumers and realizing like that is not typically attainable. Like, you shouldn't be striving for doing just that out the gate. Maybe after you have some experience, like what we're talking about. I have experience building some cars. I don't have experience fabricating it. I'm trying to get into that.
And we're going to learn.
But I have experience building cars. And so I'm ready to kind of take that next step into starting to do crazier builds and seeing if it works. I'm almost 100% certain that the first crazy build that I'm going to attempt to do is going to absolutely fail. And or kill something. Maybe not a person, but some sort of animal will die.
Disclaimer.
In the process of building that shit. So, like, people just need to understand that what's on social media, what the nuances of what is reality versus what isn't, what is obtainable versus what isn't. You need to self-reflect on that and know where your skill level is at and what the person you're watching skill level is at. And on top of that, like, stop copying people. Like, there's certain things that you can like try to copy, but like, fucking come up with your own idea. Like, it's fun, especially with cars. It's really fun to look at a car. Maybe you looked at several different cars and you're taking pieces, because this is what I do. I take pieces from different cars that I really like and say, like, I want it to look like that. Like, this section I want to look like that. This section I want to look like that. This I want to have here. And you kind of build a unique Frankenstein type of car from all these different inspirations that you've gotten, right? And build something unique. That's not going to be a carbon copy.
I mean, if you think about it, that is what most of these YouTubers are doing. And I think the biggest takeaway I have from Vin's video is that there's a propensity to show the coolest builds online because it gets you the highest views.
Absolutely.
And him and Scotto actually talk about how a lot of that too is upfront. So you announce the build, you start the build, but then when it starts to get a little bit too into the weeds, there's a huge viewership fall off. But if there's a first start or there's one of those big moments, it's also something that gets built into the title, right? When you have a title that's like dynoing the build, people come to see that shit because they want to know what power you got and all of that stuff. But then they mentioned a channel who does this like per section of a build, like fabricating this piece or putting this one piece in this specific type of wiring. And it's like low viewership, but high quality. And it's like, there's a happy medium somewhere, but it's like this, it's just this idea of like, I look at Jimmy O. I mentioned him a lot to you. I don't know if you've gotten a chance to actually watch too many of his videos.
I watch some of his stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's a good example of what I think we would want to try to do, which is like, we want to have a lot of cars, and likelihood of us owning and keeping all of those cars is probably low because one, we don't have space. And two, like, a lot of these ideas that I have are really just like around and find out and just like have a bunch of fun. Maybe it's prefacing this sort of series or whatever happens. Like we buy this car, it's like, this one's a fuck around type of build. This one's not something that we're trying to do in reality.
Yeah.
Versus like my dream car, I have an Evo and I want to do this with it, or your Eclipse one day, your Skyline one day. And like Jimmy O does the same thing where he has all the cars that he's always wanted and he touches them every once in a while. There's never we're doing this build and it's a series start to finish within, X amount of time. It's always like his Porsche that he's putting a Maserati engine in. The engine's in finally, and they just did the radiator after like 2 months of it sitting around. So it's like, instead of like this huge dramatic, like, whoa, we're doing this. It's like the reason why I like his is because it's very vlog style. It's in the shop and they're just doing shop shit.
Yeah.
Instead of high production.
So I think like we kind of have a unique with our videos, right? And it hasn't really caught fire. So I don't know if it will be successful or not. I just don't think we've gotten in front of the viewership to do it, but kind of that instant gratification that a lot of people are looking for from car builds is they want to see the start and all the shit that you have for the build, and then they want to see the end. And they don't really care so much about the middle, but if it's done in an interesting way, they'll kind of deal with the middle, right?
Yeah.
And so the way kind of we've structured our videos and what you've been doing, which is a great job, is a pretty good explanation of what we have at the beginning, and maybe showing off more parts at the very beginning and kind of highlighting those parts and some B-roll instead of like sitting in front of the camera and explaining, but like B-rolling some like really cool shots of the parts to get people excited to see it go in. And then that like sped up version of the install, and then maybe breaking a couple times when something funny happens, because we do have a lot of comic relief when we're installing shit because we just suck at some of this stuff.
Going throwing wrenches.
Yeah. But having that, and then at the very end, having that, B-roll explanation, whatever, the part actually being installed. I think that type of structure is going to work really, really well once we start getting in front of a lot of viewers, right? People will be excited because they get the gratification of seeing it done at the end. We still have, the install that they get to kind of look at, and maybe some of them will ask questions like, hey, I'm actually trying to do this too, which we do want to help the community. That's one of the, the parts of this channel is not just showing off the cool shit that we have, because that's a lot of YouTubers do that. And people are like, well, I want to do that. How do I get to that point? And they don't know how to. We kind of want to be in that space where we help them do that.
Yeah.
So, if people have questions, they can see kind of how we did it. Maybe, it's sped up and it's kind of a little harder to follow, but they'll get the gist of what needs to kind of happen. And that might help them, with their build. So we're kind of hitting multiple vectors of viewership with just one video. And I think it's going to be really successful if we can get in front of people.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, because there's a difference in like going back to the initial part of the conversation, which is YouTube creating this visual of an unattainable situation, right? Like people putting LSs and everything.
Yeah.
Like you think it's just a simple thing. I mean, I've said this a couple times in different scenarios between us where it's like I watch a YouTube video, especially Jimmy O, because he's really good at what he does. And I mean, a number of times he's put a different engine in his E36 and just put a wiring harness on it, click the start button, and it just turns on. Yeah. Every once in a while, it'll be like a false start, and he has to like do a little computering. He has to nerd out a little bit, which he also knows how to tune. Damn it, I need to learn that. Yeah. Starts right up. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, we need to take
I think that's
classes.
where I would, I would love to figure out a way to get between what he does and something like what Vin does, which is really good storytelling. I would say Jimmy O's not great with the storytelling because it's just a vlog. It really is a daily vlog.
Yeah.
Which is cool because you, as a viewer, feel like you're just one of the guys or girls in the shop hanging out with them. And they're kind of like, you're included in this, you're like peeping in on what they're doing. And then every once in a while he throws in a, you know, when you're doing this, make sure you do this. If you're doing body work, make sure you use steel it because it'll keep it from rust, but also allow you to weld. Like those little fun facts. But then Vin, he doesn't dive too deep into it, but it's very, very like well produced because it comes from Hoonigan. He comes from a storytelling background. Like somehow we have to sit right in the middle, which is join us in this shop build. Every once in a while, we'll take you on a quick little fun fact journey, you know, do your research, the more you know. And then keep it high production, but still ground level enough to where, you know, I do want to put an LS in the E36, but make sure that it's fully known that like, if you're trying to budget for this, here's what you need to do. Also, if you think it's just a plug and play situation, since you got this kit, realize that kits are kits. They weren't made from the factory OEM. So there's going to be some finagling. Yeah. It's going to be hugely important.
Yeah. I mean, it comes down to, you know, several key factors when trying to build. And we've gone over this, like, hey, when you're looking at trying to build, I think it was that we were reviewing the first project car video, right? Is you really, one, need to understand your skill level. So as you build your car, you build into having more skills with cars in general. So one is knowing your skill level, and then two is not setting your goals overly high that you cannot attain them because of what you've seen on social media, on YouTube, or even in your daily life. Like I've seen some crazy ass cars on the freeways or like at car meets. I'm like, I want to do that.
Yep.
But there was no way I could, not just from a technical standpoint, from a monetary standpoint. Like people need to realize that people drop hundreds of thousands of dollars, you know, into some of these cars that you're just never going to have, right? Yep. So build what you can and start a YouTube channel. Maybe somebody will fund you.
We're not there yet. Advice. We started one a long time ago. We're not.
It's not working out. I mean, I wouldn't recommend it. It's not working out. But
I am doing a lot of work and not making money. Luckily, I have a job of my own. I own another business.
I mean, I would really like to quit my job. That would be dope. I can't really quit my job because I own the company, but I could sell it.
No, you can. You can quit easily. Just die along with your revenue.
Now later.
Yeah, I mean that's basically it right there. It's like we want to make a channel that's achievable, and at the end of the day, it should have a basis of this is the real shit. I mean, that we can absolutely do right now because maybe we do need to focus more on like what's the budget? Like why am I holding off on this? Why am I doing this? Right? Like I had this thought on my way back from Chipotle. Like I want to buy headers for the Evo. I think it would be an awesome thing to do. And you know, that's a good modification, but I'm not going to get the power out of those headers unless I do what, Justin?
Bigger turbo.
No, no. Think back to your top 5 mods.
Big turbo.
No, a tunable ECU. If I don't get a tunable ECU, that header is going to go in and give me like 2 horsepower or something.
Yeah, I mean, you also there's so this is actually a really good I'm glad you brought this up. This is a really fun way to look at, and by fun, I mean like you're going to shoot your head and like blow your brains out because there's so much information, but just one supporting mod, right? And we've talked about this before, and my top 5 list was based off of this type of thinking, right? You're going to get headers. Let's say you go out and buy headers. You haven't upgraded turbo. You haven't got the ECU. You haven't gotten bigger injectors. You haven't done any of the other supporting stuff yet, right? It's just the headers. When you buy those headers, there is a certain flange that is on the headers that is for your turbo currently. But based off of your power goals, right, what you want to do, you might need to get a different turbo that might have a different type of flange or a different type of
course, yeah. If you want to get everything out of anything,
match mating, right? The ECU controller, the fuel injectors, even down to your math, right? Changing out your math because now you're spooling better. All those need to be in consideration and taken into consideration when you buy that header and say, all right, well, I have all these options. If I do plan on upgrading, I should get like a T3, T4 phalange that allows me to upgrade to a larger turbo if I want to, or get a twin scroll type of header. Like you start going down the rabbit hole really fucking quick.
You could go deep.
Though really deep. Like when you buy parts, and I think I have mentioned this before, when you buy parts, don't buy parts for the sake of buying parts because you're going to spend so much
full of parts.
Yeah, you're going to spend so much money, and that car is going to sit for 7 years, and you're going to move twice, and you're going to end up having a kid, and you're going to get married, and that car is still going to be sitting there with a shit ton of parts in your garage that you've never installed. Don't be me. Plan it out.
Plan it out. I mean, but you can grab headers and put them in. It's not going to blow. It's not going to blow your car up.
It's not going to blow your car up.
It might not.
It's a waste of money.
It's not. I wouldn't say it's a total waste of money. I've seen people like the Evo. They bought the specific type of headers. They put them in. It sounds a little bit better, and it opens the power up a tiny bit. Right? Like you're not going to lose power on most parts that you just throw in for the sake of throwing it in, but you're not going to gain the power that you had hoped for. And like you said, even if you were to buy all those other supporting parts except for the ECU, you're probably still going to be leaving lots of horsepower on the table.
A ton of horsepower on the table. Like the ECU is by far the most important part to get for power.
Yeah. And you know what? That's a part of this whole idea is like when you watch YouTube channels only and you think what they're doing is what I can do, there's some truth to it, but really you have to have the filter on that is they, one, have a ton of experience, hopefully. That's why they're working on cars. And two, they've already thought through all of this stuff. They just didn't share it.
Mm-hmm.
So like some of the installs that they do is for the bigger picture, not just because of that one part. And you may have just entered the conversation at that video and didn't realize there was a ton of work behind it. So maybe one of our biggest efforts is like, this was a good conversation. I wanted to get the headers, but really starting with the ECU is probably the best thing I can do for the Evo. Unless it's way too expensive, then I might not cross that bridge. I know it's like $2,300 probably for I'm going to look at the Haltech because that seems to be the one to do.
Yeah, I would Haltech. I think Link has an Evo one as well. But the good thing about you buying an ECU for the Evo is that the support for the Evo is so much larger than the E36 that you're going to be able to find.
Just a plug and play, ready to tune. It's got the tune built into it.
Like it will go into the stock harness.
Yep.
On top, there will be thousands of different maps that you can choose from. And I'm sure there's like hey, this is the stock Evo map. Throw it on there.
And then there's probably hey, this is the one that's from Japan that they absolutely dumbed down for the US. Plug it in.
Yeah, it's like literally getting like ROMs for fucking video games where you're just like, I can buy, I can get whatever ROM I want and play whatever video games. You will have a lot more support behind the Evo. So doing that ECU by far will be a lot easier than what you did with the E36 or trying to do with the E36.
Yeah.
And I think it'll give you a lot more experience. Honestly, I think it'll give you a better insight on what needs to be done in order to get the car to run.
Right.
So that we can look at the E36 and kind of troubleshoot that a little bit better.
Yeah, there might be a little bit more just like playing around learning because it's already running. The map will already be mostly good to go, or the tune. As long as I do a little bit of research on how to tune and what to touch and what not to touch, then I can just adjust things little bits here and there. Because one thing I do know is it already has intercooler piping and an open air intake. So that's already better air delivery,
Yeah.
probably better spooling, probably better a lot of things. And that's, I don't know, unless it's been flash tuned on the stock ECU or a chip, I'm not getting that, right? It's just getting shoved in, and the wastegate's probably not doing anything.
At that point, you're looking at the MAF reading,
yeah,
right? Your airflow sensor reading.
Maybe that's why idle's weird, dude. So I don't know if I've told you this, dude with the C6 Corvette. I was behind him, and we're on our way to go get some beers and pizza, and his idle is insane because he had just gotten the LS rebuilt, new cams, no cat. It's completely straight,
just aggressive ass shit
right in front of me, and my Evo is trembling. I legit am not joking, trembling. Like it was like, oh, fuck, I'm behind greatness. I'm a badass, but that's some shit right there. Like the idle went like this.
Oh shit.
Like it almost died from either the fumes or the sound. It happened again. And then I dropped the hood while I think it was for the oil change. I had it recorded, but I edited it out. As soon as it latched hard, it came back up. I'm like, what is that?
You were probably sucking in some fuel.
Yeah, it
from his exhaust, dude. Not gonna lie, you were probably sucking in some stuff that you shouldn't, and that the engine was like way too much fuel. I don't know what to do,
bro. It was so fucking funny because it literally felt like it was like, please don't race him, please.
Yeah,
I'm not ready for this. You need to put at least another 200 horsepower in me before we. It was so funny. It was so good. But yeah, I mean, it was straight up, the most intense exhaust smell. So yeah, I thought about that too. I was like, maybe it was just screwing up my readings because it was like, that's a lot of fuel. It
was 100%. I mean, it wasn't reading anything, the fuel, and you might want to do this to your car just because I don't know how long you were sitting behind them or how much it sucked in, but you might want to take off your the MAF sensor and spray that shit down with some brake cleaner because there might be some residual on there that's going to f up the reading for the air fuel.
That's interesting because it does still have it has a randomly rough idle every once in a while, and the check engine light will like pop on, and after driving for a while, it'll just go away. Maybe it's like self-cleaning a little bit.
Yeah. So I would definitely take off that because there might be some residual on there that's just stuck and screwing up your readings.
Yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't reading that extra fuel that's coming in, so it's dumping what it's supposed to, but now there's extra fuel that's not accounted for, and that AFR is fucked. And a lot of people think like, oh, if you just add more fuel, it's fine. Like the explosion will be fine. That's not how fuel works, dude. Like too much fuel, it's gonna fuck your idle up. It's gonna die.
Well, that's the whole reason why you have an AFR reading. You're making sure that the air and the fuel mixture is right for the compression and all the other things to help the combustion work. Put too much of one thing, it does not work. But yeah. So I think that we'll have to either do a pod episode or sort of like actually, I wonder, maybe we'll save this. I won't buy the next part until I move, and we'll do like a sit down and talk about, okay, what do I actually want to do with the Evo? Because I've said it before, I don't necessarily want to go wild power gains yet. I'm not ready for that. I want to make sure that my Evo lives for long enough for me to enjoy it.
Yeah, you don't want two cars sitting. That's going to piss Sarah off.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I want to do cams one day because they sound badass and it's like so much opportunity for power. And then to fix the lifter tick, you get different lifters, and I'm not going to touch that until I decide to do the cams. But getting the ECU gives me the opportunity to, get the power out of the intercooler piping, get the power out of the future headers that I want to get. And then obviously after the headers, we go down the list of stuff that you just said. And I think if we do an episode where we're explaining the thought process behind that, it's like, maybe we are that channel. Maybe it's not so much about the builds. It's more about the before the builds, after the builds, not diving too deep into the installs themselves. But like you said, throwing up the time lapse and letting it run, because there's already enough channels that go deep into that stuff. But some of the things I want to make sure we do go deep enough, because like the wiring, the reason why I can't get my damn thing to start is because every single person who's ever done an engine swap or anything under the hood of an E36 doesn't actually address how the wiring looks. Like it's complicated as hell. And if the right person explained it in the right way, maybe more people could do it.
We get some shit going.
Yeah.
No, I'm totally on board with that. Like I know we're like a month out from you being around here. Yeah. So, I think a lot more content will kind of come around
yeah.
with the builds.
Yep.
And really kind of revolving around both my E36 and your Evo, since your Evo is running and we can kind of build some content on.
Do things.
This is in and it runs.
Yay! Yay! Da, 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 da. Then we dance for TikTok. And we get you work on it. All right, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If you're new, consider joining the crew. By subscribing to the channel, not only are you signing up for a ton of content, whether it's these awesome fun talks, we don't fake the funk. I tried to script this with ChatGPT. I'm going to be completely transparent. And ChatGPT is still a little behind when it comes to tone. And maybe I just didn't give it enough context, but it sounds so dorky. So I'm just going to read this little part word for word. Tell me if you like it. Here on the channel, we don't fake the funk. Whether it's broken bolts, wiring chaos, or honest talks, I almost said honest talks about what's worth your time and money, we're building cars for the love of it and trying to keep it as real as possible. I can't help but read it like that. If you've ever felt like social media was setting impossible expectations around car builds, this is your place. We're probably going to set some unrealistic expectations as well, but as you may have heard in the conversation with Justin, we're going to try to make sure that it's almost like a disclaimer, right? If we do a build that feels unrealistic, feels out of budget, we're not going to make it seem like this is just something you can go out and do. While we do also want to make it clear and show that anybody can pick up a wrench and make something happen on a car. Now for the giveaway really quick. If you stuck around this long and you get to hear the updates for the giveaway, you're awesome. We're still doing this giveaway. It's taking a lot longer than I would hope to get to 1,000 subscribers. We're at 410, which is awesome. Those of you who are in the crew, thank you so much for being a part of this journey. Tell your friends, pick one of your favorites from our library and send it to a friend. We really hope to get to 1,000 soon so that we can get to this next giveaway. We're really excited to bring a different flavor of giveaway to the car space, which is going to start with tools and it's going to move up into garage spaces. And then we're also going to introduce project car giveaways where we're giving away those classic style cars that people want to build and hopefully coupling them with the parts, the first 5 parts that would be recommended to put into that car. But in order to do that, we have to hit 1,000 subscribers. And once we do hit that one, this first one is for a set of Icon wrenches from Harbor Freight and Daytona Jack and Jack stands. So once we hit 1,000, we'll pick a winner, about a $500 value. So if you don't want those tools or that you've already got the Jack and Jack stands, we'll give you a $500 Venmo. And if you're not new, you know what to do. Hit the like button, leave a comment, share this video. Those are the way that help grow the crew. And until the next one, I'll see you later, crew.
I think I got a vendetta.
Go spend some money on that money pit.
Oh, now they call me, I seen them. All of those times getting severed. I told them all I get let up. They get on top of me never. Give me a shot and I swear I shoot like Berettas. Yeah. They getting nervous, I seen it. What I seen, you wouldn't believe it. They say they want it, I need it.